What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing good. First off, something I really like about this update is that it's not trying to scream at you with huge dramatic changes. Instead, it quietly reshapes how the game feels when you're actually playing it. A lot of these tweaks are the kind you only notice after a few hours when you suddenly think, wait, this feels smoother than before. And that's very much the vibe here. Let's start with character customization, because Hytale keeps doubling down on player expression. There are new face and mask options, hair visuals have been refined, and there's a new white fantasy cotton color that might sound small, as I said, but it opens up way more combinations than you'd expect. On top of that, armor visibility can now be toggled, which is huge for players who care about fashion as much as stats. And for server owners, the fact that this can be controlled server-side is a big deal. It means roleplay servers, creative servers, and mini-game hubs can all decide how characters should visually present themselves. Even capes got a bit of love with improved running animations, which just adds that extra bit of polish when you're moving around the world. Gameplay-wise, one of the standout additions is the new item that lets you raise skeletal minions. This drops from the large Praetorian skeleton, and it's clearly aimed at players who enjoy summoner-style gameplay. It's not just about adding another combat option, it's about expanding playstyles. Hytale keeps showing that it wants different players to solve problems in different ways, and this fits right into that philosophy. Mining and progression also saw some meaningful changes. Adamantite now requires a thorium or cobalt pickaxe, which immediately makes the tech tree feel more deliberate. On top of that, lower tier pickaxes now deal significantly less damage to higher tier ore blocks. This might sound restrictive, but it actually reinforces progression in a satisfying way. When you finally upgrade your tools, you feel that upgrade. You're not just checking a box, you're unlocking efficiency and power. Combined with tier adjustments like copper moving to tier 2 and iron jumping to tier 4, the entire resource ladder feels more structured and intentional. Creature balance got some attention too. Polar bears have been buffed, making them feel like the dangerous wildlife they should be instead of oversized pushovers. Magma toads had their attacks reworked so they alternate between tongue attacks and headbutts with reduced tongue damage. That kind of change might seem minor, but it affects how fights flow and makes encounters feel less repetitive and more readable. One of the most important parts of this update, especially for modders and long-term players, is what's happening under the hood with World Generation. World Gen V2 is being prepared for full public documentation, and new flat and void templates have been added. New creative worlds spawned through the Creative Hub portal now use the V2 flat template by default. On top of that, ore placement has been heavily refactored. This does mean that existing worlds won't suddenly change overnight, but if you explore new chunks, you'll start seeing the new logic in action. It's a clear sign that the developers are thinking ahead and building systems meant to last. Farming also got some quality of life improvements that I think a lot of players will appreciate. Eternal crops are now protected from accidental weapon damage, which means fewer moments of frustration when you swing at the wrong time. Tilled soil now lasts longer, reducing busy work, and petals are finally craftable and renewable, which is great for builders and decorators who don't want to rely on random generation. The update also brings a bunch of interface and accessibility improvements. The editor has better tooltips, the hotbar has clearer contrast for the active slot, and there's now a diamond indicator to make selection more obvious. There's also an optional FPS counter overlay, which is great for performance testing. Inventory management got faster thanks to new keyword hotkeys, and there's even an accessibility mode for players with ophidiophobia that replaces snake models with hatworms. That's a genuinely thoughtful inclusion, and it shows the team is paying attention to player comfort, not just mechanics. On the technical side, server owners are getting some serious upgrades. There's a new auto-update system, new update commands, improvements to the launcher start scripts, and a long list of stability and validation fixes. A lot of bugs were squashed too, from map and player markers behaving incorrectly, to mantling issues, bed respawns in unloaded chunks, container refilling problems, and railcart behavior. These aren't glamorous fixes, but they're the kind that make a game feel reliable. Overall, this update feels like a strong step toward maturity. It's not trying to overwhelm you with spectacle. Instead, it tightens systems, improves progression, respects different playstyles, and quietly makes the experience better across the board. If this is the direction Hytale keeps going in, focusing on depth, stability, and player freedom, then the foundation being built here is something worth paying attention to.